But for Davy Johnson and Mel Stottlemyre, it has certainly been a long night.
It's exactly what you saw, twitching time.
Sisk from a stretch, and the runners will go. Got him. And again, Carter had trouble on that pitch. Boy, that ball was really moving. And Gary stayed with it to handle it. The Sox get a run and lead 3. And at the end of 8 1/2, 9-3 Boston.
Please leave by the nearest exit.
Davy Johnson summing up, I think, exactly how he must feel tonight. It has been a highly complicated game for him, with the Red Sox scoring 9 runs and 18 hits. He has used 5 pitchers, and he saw his ace Dwight Gooden buffeted for 6 runs in 5 innings. Mookie Wilson, Len Dykstra, and Wally Backman, bottom of the 9th inning. Strike. Bob Stanley trying to slam the lid on it. Steve Crawford would be the pitcher of record because Roger Clemens, as the starter, did not go the required 5.
And as you look ahead, Vin, we talked about Tuesday and Wednesday, Schiraldi was only up to throw a few pitches, so that's a plus for the Red Sox.
The Red Sox hand gets tougher and stronger. Fly ball to left field. 1 away. Keith Hernandez and the rest of the Mets have to face a sobering fact. In just a few minutes, they're going to be down 2 games to none and go to Fenway Park and tangle with the designated hitter and tangle with the Green Monster. Not to mention Oil Can Boyd and Don Baylor and the Sox, who are on a roll. Lenny Dykstra, 1 for 3, involved in what seems at first glance is not very important, but in the 5th inning, when the Mets were trying to get off the floor, he was stymied on that great diving catch by Dwight Evans. Then the Mets had a walk and 2 singles, and with the ballpark bursting in sound, Strawberry struck out, and there was a ground ball, and that was that. For the Red Sox, when we say they are on a roll, remember they were down 3 games to 1 to the Angels and jerked the rug out from under California. They had to win 3 straight from California, and they did it. They came into New York, and they're trying to win 2 straight here. So if the Sox win this game, they will have won 5 straight clutch ball games. They're 2 outs away from doing it. Joe Sambito and Calvin Schiraldi, 2 former Mets, throwing in the shadows of the Boston bullpen. Wally Backman has walked twice and singled twice. Sambito, of course, the left-hander. And Bob Stanley wants a new ball. Pitchers have told me sometimes that some balls feel bigger than others. Sometimes it
seems
get a seam that's raised or what have you.
They're almost like the surgeon's feel.
Safe crackers.
Yes. Pickpockets.
Sensitive fingertips. 1 ball and no strikes to Wally Backman. The interesting thing, too, Dykstra has a single and a walk. Backman has 2 walks and 2 singles. That means that the 2 guys who set the table, the 2 pests, the 2 fellas who are so important, and how important it is to keep them off the base paths, have been on the bases 6 times and only once produced a run. So you lay the body right at the doorstep of the heart of the Mets lineup. Hernandez, Carter, Strawberry, because the little guys have done their usual big job.
Marty Barrett and Gedman went out and told Stanley what he knows, get the ball over, and the big guy probably said, what do you think I'm trying to do? Well, you're not doing a very good job. Throw some strikes. That's usually the conversation you hear.
2-0. And he does what he's told.
No strategy. You just say, hey, we can't make a play if you walk everybody. Well, I'm not trying. Some conversations you have out there.
Two and 2. Hernandez waiting his turn on deck. He has one hit. Had he gotten another hit, the slam off Clemens' leg, who knows how this one would have gone. Slow roller to Stapleton at the bag. He'll take the easy out. 2 down with Dykstra at second base, and the batter is Hernandez. Our special thanks for some great shots to Michael Weissman, Harry Coyle, and George Finkel. It was not much of a story as the Red Sox broke it open in the 7th inning. 9-3 Boston. Tomorrow's moving day, and Tuesday night at Fenway Park. Bob Ojeda, Dennis Boyd. High drive into deep center. Henderson digging to the track at the wall. He's got it. And that summed up the Mets all night. They've been a buck short, and the Red Sox, who were supposedly almost a 3-1 underdog team, have swept 2 in New York. They have sent Davy Johnson and the Mets back to the gloom. And we'll see if it continues at Fenway Tuesday. For the New York Mets, disillusionment, and for Wade Boggs and company, they feel they're a team of destiny, especially after they won that big game against the Angels, and it is held up. Tonight's NBC Miller Lite player of the game would be Wade Boggs, and Miller Lite happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of Wade Boggs to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Boggs took a hit away from Hernandez, took a hit away from Carter, took a hit away from Santana. He doubled and scored a run, then he doubled again in the 9th inning, and so Wade gets the honor indeed. But the Sox get the win.
That is the big one. You know, you come into a park, you say, well, if we can split, win 1 and lose 1, we'd be happy. 2-0, they really have to feel that they can do some big damage in Fenway.
It must have seemed like an eternity to the New York Mets, and it was close. 3 hours and 37 minutes. Wade Boggs has to be the man of the moment. Let's go to him and to Bob Costas.
All right, Vin, thanks very much. You know, Wade, a few years ago, most observers would have named you a less than average defensive third baseman. Everybody talks about the 3 batting titles, but you've worked to become effective with the glove.
Most definitely. I come out every day and work 15-20 minutes extra on the ground balls. The fielding doesn't come easy, and I have to work a lot harder on my fielding than I do my hitting, and it's paying off.
You made a play on Mookie Wilson in the 7th last night. We're looking at a couple of the plays you turned in tonight, but in the 7th to take a hit away, and that preserved the 1-0 lead for Bruce Hurst last night, and at least 3 fine plays tonight.
Well, I didn't get any hits last night, but I felt like I went 4 for 4 with that diving play that I made that eventually saved the tying run. And the only way you can do is contribute in games like this, and I'm just going out there trying to do the best I can.
When people look at a guy with a lifetime batting average of .352 and 3 batting titles, they figure it's been a success story throughout, and yet just a few years ago, the Red Sox organization left you unprotected. Any team in baseball could have had you for 25 grand, and they all passed.
Well, I'm glad they did, because my heart's in Boston, and I'm just doing all I can to contribute in this World Series.
You guys have won 5 in a row after coming back from the brink of elimination, down 3-1, and now you're up 2-0 heading back to Fenway. Got to be a great feeling.
It's a great feeling. This team's got a lot of heart, and they've never given up all year. We've had a lot of adversity on the field and off the field, and we just put forth the effort, and it's paying off.
Thanks, Wade. The other side of the emotional scale, embodied by Gary Carter. He's on the other side of the field with Marv Albert. Marv?
All right, Bob, and for Gary Carter and the Mets, not a pleasant weekend here in New York. The scenario now, the worst possible case, you go to Fenway down 2-0.
Well, it's going to be a tough go, Marv. This Boston Ball Club, they got a great lineup, and they've gotten some good pitching performances. They got one tonight out of their bullpen, that's for sure. So, hey, we'll go on to Fenway, and hopefully we can pick it back up again.
Mets still not hitting. Is the ball club pressing at this point?
I don't think so. We just came off one of the most pressurized series that we've ever played, and I don't know. We got something going a little bit tonight, 8 hits, but we'll have to pick it back up in Boston.
Of course, out of the 8 hits, 2 were bunt singles. Are you embarrassed by what has taken place here at Shea?
No, not at all. I'm very proud of this ball club, and I think we've done it all year, and it's just a shame that, these first 2 games went the way they did, but you know, the Kansas City Royals were down 2 games last year and came back, so anything can happen.
In fact, the Royals, the only club in World Series history to win after trailing 2 games to nothing, losing the first 2 at home.
No, exactly, Marv. That's just it about a World Series game and going on to Boston, and we feel that we can pick it back up again.
All right, what about the pitching rotation Fernandez used tonight? It was thought that he would not pitch in game number 4 at Fenway. The thought was Ricky Aguilera, who was utilized tonight. Will it be Darling on 3 days rest?
Well, it could be, but I think that Davey is just using everybody he possibly can, and I would say, if anything, it might come back with Sid Fernandez.
All right, Gary Carter of the Mets. Let's get back to Vin and Joe.
Well, thank you, fellas. And it's pretty easy for Wade Boggs on the ecstasy roll to be on the show. And our thanks to Gary Carter. I know he had to bite the bullet every second he was talking to Marv Albert.
He's a class guy, Vin. It's, you know, it hurts more to lose than it feels good to win.
You betcha. Well, remember, Tuesday, the World Series continues with Game 3, 8 p.m. Eastern Time from Fenway Park in Boston on your World Series network, NBC. It'll be Bobby Ojeda. What a story. The former Boston Red Sox comes back with an 18-5 record against Dennis Oil Can Boyd, the youngster who was emotionally upset at the All-Star time, suspended, returned, and now trying to make it 6 straight for Boston. The Mets will be fighting for their baseball lives. Join us then. Till then, for Joe Garagiola, Vin Scully wishing you a pleasant good evening.